The hidden reason you keep buying things you know you do not need introduction. Your shopping cart is not about shopping. You think you bought that new gadget because it was on sale. You think you ordered those shoes because they looked useful. You think you clicked Buy Now because you made a rational decision. But what if none of that is true? What if your brain is actually trying to solve a problem that the product was never designed to fix? What if that flash sale notification triggered the same ancient survival circuitry that once helped your ancestors survive droughts, famines, and harsh winters? Because according to modern psychology, neuroscience, and evolutionary biology, many purchases are not driven by need. They are driven by emotion, and sometimes by fear. Today, we are exposing the hidden psychological forces that make people buy things they already know they do not need. Not because they are weak, not because they lack self-control, but because modern commerce has learned how to speak directly to some of the oldest survival systems in the human brain. The result is a never-ending cart, a cycle of anticipation, acquisition, disappointment, and repetition. And most people never realize it is happening. The biology of the never-ending cart. Imagine you are living 10,000 years ago. Food is scarce. Resources are unpredictable. Winter is coming. Every successful hunt increases your chances of survival. Every extra resource means safety. Your ancestors who gathered more resources generally survived longer. Over thousands of generations, the human brain evolved to value acquisition. Finding resources became rewarding. The brain needed a mechanism to motivate that behavior, so evolution created dopamine. Contrary to popular belief, dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. It is the anticipation chemical. It pushes you toward potential rewards. It says, "Go get that. Keep searching. Something valuable is ahead." This system was brilliant for survival. The problem is that your brain still uses the same ancient software. The environment changed. The software did not. Today, there are no mammoths to hunt. No winter food shortages, no seasonal scarcity for most people. Instead, there are millions of products available 24 hours a day. Your survival system now encounters digital marketplaces, and your brain often treats them like resource fields. Flash sales become successful hunts. Limited time offers become survival opportunities. Discounts become rewards. The ancient brain cannot always distinguish between genuine survival resources and modern consumer goods. The result? You feel urgency even when nothing important is actually at stake. Why abundance feels like scarcity? One of the strangest psychological paradoxes of modern life is this. Human beings live in an age of unprecedented abundance, yet many people constantly feel like they do not have enough. Enough money, enough status, enough security, enough possessions. Psychologists call this perceived scarcity. The feeling that resources are insufficient even when objective abundance exists. Your brain does not respond to reality. It responds to perception, and perception can be manipulated. This is why modern marketing focuses so heavily on scarcity. Only 3 left. Sale ends tonight. Limited stock. Exclusive offer. These messages activate ancient survival systems. The brain hears, "If I don't act now, I might lose access forever." The rational mind understands that another pair of headphones will exist tomorrow. But the survival brain reacts differently. It interprets the situation as a threat, and threats demand action. This is why shopping often feels urgent. Not because the product matters, but because scarcity triggers fear. The algorithm knows your insecurities. Modern shopping platforms are not passive stores. They are behavioral prediction systems. Every click, every search, every pause, every purchase feeds information into algorithms. These systems learn patterns, and eventually they learn something incredibly valuable. Your vulnerabilities. The platform does not need to understand your entire personality. It only needs to identify emotional triggers. Maybe you feel insecure about appearance. Maybe you worry about success. Maybe you fear missing out. Maybe you crave belonging. The algorithm discovers these patterns. Then it shows products connected to those emotional needs. Suddenly, you are not buying shoes. You are buying confidence. You are not buying a productivity app. You are buying hope. You are not buying a luxury watch. You are buying identity. The object becomes symbolic, and symbolic purchases are often far more powerful than practical purchases. The shift from utility to symbolic safety. Historically, humans purchased things for utility: food, shelter, tools, clothing. Today, many purchases serve psychological functions. Objects become emotional anchors. People buy things to feel prepared, to feel secure, to feel successful, to feel valuable. This is why some people accumulate items they rarely use. The object is not solving a practical problem. It is solving an emotional one, or at least attempting to. The purchase becomes symbolic safety, a physical representation of control, a temporary shield against uncertainty. Unfortunately, objects are not designed to resolve existential insecurity, and this creates the next problem: the neurological loop of temporary relief. Notice what happens after you buy something. The anticipation is exciting. The checkout process feels rewarding. The shipping notification creates excitement. The delivery date becomes important. You imagine how life will improve. Then the package arrives. You open it, you inspect it, you use it. And something strange happens. The emotional intensity fades, often very quickly. This is called hedonic adaptation. Humans rapidly adapt to new rewards. The object loses psychological power once it becomes familiar. The dopamine spike disappears. The excitement evaporates, and the emotional problem remains unresolved. This creates a cycle. Anxiety. Purchase, relief, adaptation, anxiety again. The brain learns that shopping provides temporary emotional regulation, so it repeats the behavior. Not because it works permanently, but because it works briefly. Why waiting feels better than owning. One of the most fascinating discoveries in neuroscience is that anticipation often activates reward systems more strongly than possession. In simple terms, waiting for the package can feel better than actually having it. The brain loves possibility. Possibility contains unlimited potential. Reality contains limitations. Before the package arrives, your imagination fills in the blanks. The product might change your life, it might solve your problem, it might make you happier. Once it arrives, reality replaces imagination, and reality is usually less exciting. This is why some people constantly browse products but rarely feel satisfied after buying them. Their brain is chasing anticipation itself, not the object. The existential void behind consumption. Now we arrive at the deepest layer. Many purchases are not really about products. They are about emotions, loneliness, uncertainty, insecurity, fear, boredom, lack of purpose. When these feelings become uncomfortable, consumption offers distraction. The purchase creates a temporary sense of movement, a temporary sense of progress, a temporary sense of control. But emotional discomfort eventually returns, because the root problem was never addressed. The brain keeps trying to solve emotional pain with material solutions, and material solutions cannot fix existential problems. Breaking the architecture of impulse. So how do you escape the cycle? First, pause before purchasing. Ask, what emotion am I trying to change right now? This question alone disrupts automatic behavior. Second, identify the hidden promise. What does the product supposedly represent? Confidence, security, belonging, status? Third, create distance. Wait 48 hours before major purchases. The urgency often disappears because urgency was emotional, not practical. Fourth, reduce exposure. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Remove shopping apps. Limit algorithmic influence. Make the impulse harder to execute. Radical sufficiency. One of the most powerful psychological concepts is radical sufficiency. The recognition that enough can actually be enough. Modern systems profit from dissatisfaction. They need you to feel incomplete because incomplete people buy more things, but sufficiency changes the equation. Instead of asking, "What else do I need?" ask, "What do I already have?" Gratitude interrupts scarcity. Awareness interrupts impulse. Presence interrupts craving. The brain slowly learns that safety is not hiding inside the next purchase. Redefining security. Perhaps the greatest illusion of consumer culture is the belief that security can be purchased. But real security comes from somewhere else. Skills, relationships, community, health, meaning, purpose. These things cannot be delivered in a box. The next time you feel the urge to buy something you do not need, pause. Ask yourself, what am I actually searching for? Because the answer may have nothing to do with the product and everything to do with the human need underneath it. The object was never the solution. The object was simply a symbol. And true freedom begins the moment you stop looking for safety in things and start building it within yourself. What is the most unnecessary thing you've ever bought because you thought it would make you feel better? Let us know in the comments.